guys, welcome to the weekly Facebook Live show for our Profitable PR Pros. I'm Jen Burson, founder of Generation PR and creator of the Profitable PR Pros community, where you might be watching this right now, as well as programs like the Pitch Lab and Agency Accelerator, which are designed to teach you how to become a pitching powerhouse and then launch, grow, and scale your own profitable PR agency. This topic today is all about imposter syndrome. Such a buzzword, and I don't love buzzwords, but I know a lot of people can relate to this. And we've had a lot of questions from our community about it. And I think that given that this is the first of the year, a lot of people are looking at the beginning of the year to make maybe a career transition or up level their businesses. And also we all set these big goals at the beginning of the year. Raise your hand, myself included. This is where imposter syndrome starts to come into play for a lot of people. It happens to me too. It has throughout my career, and I have a strategy and an approach to help, or at least that helps me to kind of conquer it when it rears its little head. Hi friends, hi Mo, thanks so much for being here. Hi Sally. Guys, this is like, you guys are the best. This is the best community on the planet for PR pros. I just have to tell you. The other thing I notice is like when you're just starting out, we're gonna talk about maybe even what imposter syndrome is, because people may not even know what it is. Like you've heard of it and you're just like, do I have that? What is that? So we're going to talk about how it affects PR professionals in particular, and we'll talk about some specific examples of where I've experienced it and how I've potentially overcome it. And let's see. So I always have notes. If you see me looking down, it's because your time is valuable and so is mine. And I really want to make sure that when you show up here for these live discussions, that you're leaving with something actionable, you're leaving with something that will help you, that you can put into practice right away. So for me, that means that we plan these out. So we take notes, we research your questions and make sure that we are giving you actionable strategies that will answer them and help you overcome your challenges. So if I'm looking down, it's because we have an entire lesson planned and I have notes. Because if I just talk off the cuff, you're not getting all the good stuff. So we're going to start off by talking about what exactly is imposter syndrome, a couple examples that I've experienced in my career, how I've overcome it and how you can too. They're specifically for simple strategies. Sometimes it's the simple things that actually make the biggest impact, because we tend to overthink it or think that there's this major shift that has to happen, but it's little subtle, consistent shifts that help us, address these things. So first and foremost, what even is this? What is imposter syndrome? I've heard that the greats like Oprah, Maya Angelou has talked about experiencing imposter syndrome. Natalie Portman gave a speech at Harvard about experiencing imposter syndrome. And you might think to yourself, how could they feel like they're imposters? What is it? It's sometimes when a person feels that they aren't truly as successful or deserving of their position or where they currently are. And they have anxiety or fear that they're going to be called out as a fraud, or that they themselves feel like a fraud. Awesome. Momo is saying, I've had it bad lately and I need this conversation. I hear that. I want to reframe it so that it actually can be empowering for you instead of make you freeze in fear or make you feel like you can't move forward and achieve your goals. So we're going to talk about ways that it can actually be empowering for you. So what we tend to do is when we look at other people's success, we see just that. We see their success. And then when we look at ourselves, we see the full story. all of the learning that we have to go through, all of the struggles, maybe the failures that we've experienced in the past, and then, of course, our successes. So other people have a full story of ups and downs, but we're only typically seeing their successes. Like, we kind of see these people that are overnight sensations. And then you don't really realize they've been struggling and struggling to get where they are to be an overnight sensation for 10 years or, or around that, or they've pivoted or made other missteps to get where they are. So when we look at ourselves, we see the missteps, we see the false starts, we see the things that maybe didn't go the way we expected, and you have this full picture. And we're also harder on ourselves than we would be on other people. So that's kind of where it comes from. It's this feeling of like, do I deserve to be here? These people are more qualified than I am. Maybe they haven't struggled as much as I have. That's kind of what that feeling is. And Mo is saying she's experiencing it right now. And it's because she is making a major shift in her professional life, in her career, stepping into a greater role, stepping into a bigger purpose, serving in a bigger way, and giving of herself in a way that she never has before. So it's completely brand new. It tends to creep up and rear its ugly little head when you're stepping into a bigger stage or stepping onto a bigger role. Hi, Beverly. That's when you tend to see it, because you're doing something that's new, that's unfamiliar. Maybe you've never done it before. Maybe you've never experienced success before. So you feel like, oh, this is completely new for me. We tend to see a lot in our program, the Agency Accelerator, when people shift away from working at a firm or doing PR in-house somewhere and go to start their own agency, because now they're saying, well, I'm completely brand new at this, and people are going to think like you just started. Well, no, you didn't. You didn't just start. You have your entire career or professional experience that got you to this place, and that is still within you, and that will serve your clients when you are running an agency, and that will serve you knowing that you already have all these successes and experience, whether they're not quite successes, but you've learned from them. That's coming with you as you start your own agency, but that's when we tend to see it. So how does imposter syndrome affect PR professionals? It's one of the reasons that this tends to affect people in our industry is because sometimes it's hard to quantify the results that you're getting for clients. Sometimes the success of campaigns is maybe obvious to us, but it's impossible to definitively measure. Something like you got X sales from this feature. We don't really track metrics like that. It's hard for us to quantify. That's why we typically do AVE, which is add value equivalent, or we do impressions. Those are old reporting metrics. We're sort of veering away from that and reporting more on impact and other things. We're going to actually be teaching a masterclass inside of the Pitch Lab to give you strategies for how you can boost your reporting, because for us, it's all about reporting, serving clients, and keeping them in the door. We want consistent, predictable, recurring retainer revenue. Means when you get your clients, you got to keep your clients, which means getting them great results. So you can get great results, but how do you position it properly? We're going to be talking about reporting, but sometimes it's hard for us to actually quantify because we can't measure. It doesn't mean that there isn't immense value and worth in the work that you do. PR is critical to the success of your clients, and you need to remain confident in that no matter what. And the other thing that we tend to deal with a lot as PR professionals is rejection, hearing no. Hi, Natasha. Or the other thing is hearing nothing. And I think that's almost worse, because we tend to doubt our approach altogether. Like, am I doing this right? Why am I hearing crickets? Why isn't anyone responding to me? Did they even get my email? Am I sending it to the right person? So it's like second guessing your approach when you don't hear anything. And this is just the nature of our industry, right? We hear a lot of rejection. Sometimes a strategy that we put together or a campaign, it'll flop. Ghosting, Natasha's saying ghosting. Absolutely. Hi, Samantha. This happens all the time to even the biggest, names in PR, the biggest agencies charging multiple 5-figure monthly retainers still get ghosted by journalists and writers. So, if a media contact just doesn't respond, or you don't get as many placements as you, Melissa. Hi, Melissa. She's saying, yes, would way rather hear no than be ignored. I totally agree with that, because then you don't wonder, did they even get my email? At least then you've got a live person on the other end. Now it's a conversation. You can go back to them with something else. They're at least responsive. When you hear nothing, all you do is run through in your head all of the things that you could have done wrong. Did it go to spam? Am I reaching the wrong person? Did they even get it? And then you start to get that feeling of how are other people doing this and having results? Is it me? Give me a thumbs up. I mean, it's kind of more like a thumbs down, but don't give me a thumbs down. But give me a thumbs up or a heart if that resonates, because that's where my imposter syndrome tends to creep in a bit. For me, it also comes in when we get bigger clients. So we have represented billion-dollar brands in each of our niches, and we charge just like in dating. Yeah. I haven't dated in a long time, so I don't know about that. Awesome. Okay, good, guys. Yeah, so whenever we step into a bigger role and we're serving bigger clients with bigger retainers, I start to second guess, are we qualified to do this? Am I qualified to be charging that? And then you start to spiral oh my God, I got to get results. I got to get them now. I can't disappoint them. This is a bigger, stakes are higher at that point. Natasha's saying it eats at me. It's that, that's why this community is so beneficial and our paid programs are so beneficial, because we're telling you and we're collaborating on the strategies and tactics that are working for all of us right now. So even in the pitch lab, we have a winning pitch vault. And the reason that we put that together is because we want to show you, here's a feature that landed in the New York Times. Here's the exact pitch that the person sent that resulted in that feature. So you can see what goes into it, what it doesn't say. All of that helps you gain confidence in your own skills. So that's why we create these resources for all of you, so that you know what is working right now for other pros that are getting results. And that gives you either the strategies to step into that or the comfort knowing that you're doing it right. Mo is saying, my whole last 14 days, this is in the new year, just from the new year to now, who am I to deserve to have a business and charge premium retainers? Dude, you know who you are. That pitch vault is gold, Natasha says. Thank you. Mo, you are so incredibly qualified. Wait till you guys hear Mo's story. We are going to be creating a case study video that is going to knock your socks off. We have a crew going to meet her in Oahu, Hawaii, where she lives, to film her story, and wait until you hear her story. So I understand that feeling. But that means that you are stepping into a bigger role. You're serving in a bigger way. You have a bigger purpose that you are now realizing. Yeah. And then she says, and then I have 3 discovery calls in the next 7 days. Of course you do. Of course you do. So lean into that, right? But I know that feeling is real. So we on the come up. Yes, you are. And that feeling is really showing you that you are stepping into your purpose and serving in a bigger way. It's that this is the moment that you are growing personally and professionally. So that's to be celebrated, right? The reason PR professionals feel this way is that, hi Lindsay, is that there are so many factors outside of our control. So we could be awesome. We're great storytellers. We've got a great contact list. We think we have a great client. There's so many factors at play here. It could be not the right timing. You might not have reached the right person. The pitch might just be a little bit off. Maybe your client's product isn't quite new enough for that media contact. It's not just your expertise and your ability to pitch. It's other factors that are outside of our control, but it's so easy for us to get caught up in thinking that we're not doing a good job when things don't go as planned. And that, like Natasha says, it eats away at you and starts to erode your confidence. So give me a thumbs up if that resonates with you at all, because that's how I feel too. I'm like, what are we doing wrong? What's happening to us right now is that proposals are taking longer to convert and we're having to jump through more hoops. It used to be like, have a discovery call, send a proposal, send a contract, start on the 1st, boom, boom, boom. And now it's like, well, we submitted, we need an RFP, not just a general proposal. We have to have a call with the CEO. Okay, we have a couple of questions. Can we talk to some of your clients? We have some follow-up questions. We're doing a mini launch. Can we get a strategy? And I'm like, no. We do the best we can without giving away too much. And then they still need more time. And then they still are making decisions. And then they're not quite ready. And that could potentially erode our confidence. So for me to take the power back, what we're doing is being more proactive. When we go through that effort to think about that company and all of the ways we can support them, not necessarily sharing an entire strategy, but just getting in the mindset to support that company, I'll go after their competitors. I'll just go right to their competitors and pitch our ideas or reach out and show the kind of work we could do for them and then say, do you have 15 minutes to get on the phone? And right before I jumped on live, I did about 5 or 6 cold outreach emails, and I've already heard back from a couple of them, so warm and so positive, which were just like, not right now, but thank you so much. I'm so glad to be connected. So all of that just, kind of takes power back. And then that gives you confidence and helps you overcome imposter syndrome. But I'm going to share a quick story about myself. I've been running my agency. Yeah, thanks, Natasha. I've been running my agency for 16 years. Yeah, and Samantha's saying, I've definitely experienced this, Jen, in the last month. Great idea. It is happening. I don't know. It's probably due to COVID. I would think that, budgets are tighter. They're sort of having a little trepidation, stepping back into PR with a monthly expense. I don't know. Maybe there's more hoops and hurdles they have to justify their decisions. But I feel, Samantha, a lot better about that experience happening to me because I know that you are also experiencing it. Not that I feel good that you're having that experience, but I know that it's not just me. And for us in these communities, in this community, it's so helpful to know, it just gives you that confidence to know other people are having a similar experience. And then we talk about how to overcome it. Melissa is saying, where do you give cold outreach examples? The Agency Accelerator or the Pitch Lab? That's inside the Agency Accelerator program. We have actually cold outreach templates. And we have also like a CRM approach, spreadsheet, and a way that we're doing, like we talk about how you research clients to reach out to. We have lessons on like seeing if they have a PR firm and talking about ways to look at that. So that's all Agency Accelerator. We are really focused on growing and scaling a profitable agency, bringing new clients in, developing a healthy client pipeline in Agency Accelerator. It's all about running your agency. So it's a really good question. My story, so I'm now almost 16 years in my agency, but for the first 5 years, because I used to be a litigator, I was an attorney, I always felt like a complete imposter. I was like, why would anyone hire a lawyer to do their PR? Even though I was getting clients, I was getting results. I was, and let me just read Natasha's. I sent an outreach and let them know I could be a strong partner with their marketing efforts. That hooked 2 people this week. I'm about to sign my second new client this week. Yes, Natasha. And we've been chatting over Instagram about it, and they're amazing clients. And I see Natasha stepping up her game on social, really sharing her existing client wins to leverage those wins to attract more of the same clients. These are strategies we talk about in the accelerator. Mo saying super helpful. The Agency Accelerator is stuff that is so valuable. Thank you. Yeah, so 5 years in, I was still feeling like, why would anyone hire a lawyer? I'm still a lawyer, you know. Yeah, and I was getting great results. We were getting national mentions, features on TV. We were like really doing a good job. But and I also tried to bridge the gap between the like past and where I was headed by teaching at the Fashion Institute. Like I thought, well, if I'm really in my head still a lawyer, I have to not be a lawyer anymore. So how can I get more immersed in the world as an expert? So I taught in the beauty and cosmetics department. I taught entrepreneurship, and that was like crazy hard because creatives at FITM don't want to learn business plans and P&L statements. They just want to be creative. So it's like really, really challenging thing for me. I much prefer teaching and sharing what I know in the agency accelerator and the pitch lab versus to hungry professionals that want to implement, that are like, you know, ravenous for information that they can just go, you know, take their marching orders and implement, versus creatives that are like, I don't want to do this work. Anyway, really hard, but that's what I did to bridge the gap. But for 5 years, you guys, I still felt like, well, and that was around the time that I shifted to, being a publicist longer than I was an attorney. So I practiced law for just about 4 years. But there was a day that Andrea, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so wanting to launch my own firm, but imposter syndrome slows me down every time. I felt like my freelance work wasn't strong enough to go for bigger clients, especially being from a small town and not a lot of big name media. And the media that is here, they kind of play favorites. Yeah, you've got to join the agency accelerator. Look at this community. Natasha, Sally they're in it. Mo is in it. We tackle all of this mindset and clarity in the very first part of the agency accelerator. It's actually open for enrollment now, you guys. We like quietly opened it. I think I can post a link if you want to just explore it and understand what it is that we offer. But let me see if this is the current. Yeah. Here, you can check it out and ask any of these women if if they think it's the right fit for you. But we tackle that for that very reason. But yeah, so here I am 5 years in, and on a Friday, I had a client on the Today Show that morning in New York, flew out there, and I couldn't go out there with her because I was at Ellen. Maybe it was a Thursday. I was at Ellen recording their coveted Mother's Day episode with 2 clients. So we got 2 of our clients on Ellen. We were invited to watch it in the green room. I was pregnant with my second son and I didn't even know it. So I posted pictures of like, I'm at Ellen at the Mother's Day episode, and people were like, oh my God, are you pregnant? And I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. I'm here with my clients. And then I actually was pregnant and I didn't know it. Sidebar. But that moment where it hit me 5 years into my career, Sally is saying that I had to stop and say this because this is the best, and I have to capture this comment. Sally is saying the agency accelerator is the best thing I've ever done for myself and my business. I'm going to give that a big old like. That's awesome, Sally. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm so happy that you found us. But yeah, the imposter syndrome for 5 years was so intense, but in that moment, being in the green room with 2 clients on the Ellen show and having another client in New York making her Today Show debut, not just a product, but her as an expert, there recording her Today Show debut, I finally allowed myself to feel like I was actually good at this, like I actually deserved to be doing this. It should not have taken me 5 years, and it should not have taken a day like that. That's like a friggin' like, I rock, like I'm awesome. It took 5 years for me to feel like she gives details, everything, holds nothing back. That's right. That's how we grow, right? You got to share it all. Yeah, but that was my moment of finally overcoming imposter syndrome of like, I'm a lawyer. Why would anyone hire me? I was like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a friggin' publicist, and I'm a damn good one too. We crush it. And I felt so confident in that moment. It should not have taken that long. But that's how I finally stopped having imposter syndrome. I still feel it when, we grow, like bringing on $1 billion client, charging, $25,000 a month. And then you're like, oh my God, I have to like deliver. Now I have to actually deliver on the results we promised. Like that's where you feel it again. But here are ways that I have overcome imposter syndrome that I hope can help you as well. Number one, embrace or cultivate your expertise in a specific area. So sometimes imposter syndrome comes from just trying to be this jack of all trades and master of none. I like to say that if you think that you are, if you're trying to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to anybody. So if you hone in on a particular industry, that can allow you to feel really confident because you dive deep in cultivating strong expertise and learning the media contacts that are the gatekeepers that matter for your prospective clients, knowing all of the movers and shakers, knowing all the industry news. That's what gives you confidence, because you're like, I know this industry. Like, I'm going to talk to these clients and there's no one more informed than me, because I am a subject matter, like a deep subject matter in their niche. So that's one way to do it. Doing that, diving deep as a subject matter expert, will make you feel way more confident that you're an expert in that service that you're offering to those clients, right? So that's one way that we've done it. Give me a thumbs up if that resonates, or if you're ready to niche down to level up your business. Sally did it this year. She niched down in, children's books and publishing as her expertise that she is diving deep into. Yeah, hands up, raise them up. Okay, awesome. Number two, remind yourself you cannot be successful all the time. You can't. Nobody is. Nobody's successful all the time. Nobody has 100% success all the time. But it can be easy for all of us to feel like that when you're looking at people's Instagram highlight reel, right? We're all trying to be authentic, but then there's that like faux authenticity on social media where you're like, that's not authentic, where you're like, oh, I'm just going to be, sharing like, oh my God, this just didn't go my way, but then it did. And look at how great it is. It's like, no, you're not. That's not authentic. We are seeing people's highlight reels. We are seeing people's greatest hits. You're not seeing the crap behind the scenes. That's why something like this community is so empowering, because people share. They share what they're actually going through, and we work it out together. So you're not kind of seeing this sugar-coated, candy-coated highlight reel of everybody's greatest hits. Melissa's saying, I come from in-house PR at a winery. Cool. But I want to branch out, currently doing freelance for a government PR agency. So cool. I love that. I like wine. Sounds fun. There's so many ways to leverage that too with the beverage industry, hospitality. There's a lot of crossover with some really good niches that you can charge nice juicy retainers for, love crossover. So a lot there to leverage. So yeah, it's easy for us to kind of look at everybody's highlight reels and be like, wow, they've got their act together, and what's going wrong with me? So, we have struggled, like right now, honestly, I'm going to be really candid with you. We have a client that we are just not converting. And we love the founder. She is lovely and wonderful, but no one's interested. It's just like crickets beyond. And whenever we start to get traction, we'll hit a setback that's out of our control. Like the products were pulled down from Amazon just when we had Real Simple decide that they're going to run an exclusive feature on a specific product, because they can also get affiliate revenue with Amazon, and then something will happen and their products are pulled off of Amazon, and we're like, okay, we finally got some traction, and now we can't even make that happen because something out of our control. But it still sits on us, like, why can't we make this interesting? And the truth is, maybe it's just not that interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's just something happens out of our control. But I still feel like we are so success driven and results driven, and we just want everyone to be happy. So we're like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? But I just think this, it's like the packaging isn't interesting. They're launching a new product, and they sent us images of the new product, and it's like, it could not look any more generic if it tried. And we're like, how can we spice it up? And then they'll like put some little accessories in the picture. And I'm like, no, we cannot send these pictures with like your house towels and a silk flower there. Like, that's not good. So it's really hard. And I just know that we're probably going to have to part ways. I don't want to continue to take anybody's money if it's just not working, but I wish we had more we could give to them and say, here's what's happening. This is one of those instances where we're not getting a lot of traction and we're not hearing a lot of feedback. So it feels very disempowering. I feel like that's the word. Silk flower. Oh my God, I know, Natasha. I know. It is the branding. It is. The products are really wonderful, and they serve a very specific purpose, and they're the best at it. And they have, within a certain community, they're like the number one product line. And I thought we could leverage that, but it's not translating, and we're not able to make those big sweeping like branding, and we've offered to help them with their images and stuff, but they're not interested. Normally our clients come to us fully formed with their images, lifestyle, product shots. They will not. I mean, it's just already so established, and inventory with the existing branding, it's and the retainer isn't as such that we're like, we're gonna go all in. Like, we're trying, but we love this company, we love the founder, but the results are not aligned. But it still takes a toll. It weighs on us because we want to over deliver always. So it happens to all of us. You'll see it's not a client I feature ever on my social media. It is not possible to be successful 100% of the time. You're not a superhero. It's unrealistic to expect that you're going to do every single thing right all the time. Right? You're not going to expect that of an employee, a friend, your child. So why do you expect that of yourself? One of those things that maybe here was amiss was the client vetting process. I think we were like so eager to help her that I was like willing to overlook some things. I was like, maybe we could help, like, this is cool. We like it, that's another way that we didn't quite follow our normal process, and this is what happens. So it happens to all of us, right? So the other way that we overcome imposter syndrome, learn from our mistakes. So when you do fail, which is again totally normal, don't beat yourself up. Story of my 2020, says Natasha. Don't beat yourself up about it. Use it as a learning opportunity to do better next time. So how can you learn from it? What's a learning opportunity from this thing that happened that either was a result of something you did or didn't do or was totally out of your control, instead of letting it weigh on you as a failure or making you feel like a fraud because you're not getting the results that you think you should or that your peers are getting. How can you learn from that and do better next time? And the last tip I have for you is, and I want you, please promise me you're going to do this. So simple and so powerful, and so many people don't do it. Celebrate your little milestones. Celebrate all of the little milestones. So success isn't just this big end goal result, but it is all of the things that you've done and overcome along the way to get to that place. So when you do have successes, which is probably more often than you're maybe giving yourself credit for, make sure that you actually celebrate them. Congratulate yourself instead of just moving on to the next thing. Yeah. instead of just moving on to the next thing, you're missing that opportunity. It's honestly, there's like a neuroscience backed theory that when you actually acknowledge your successes and your wins versus moving past them quickly to get to the next thing, you're actually creating new neural pathways that hardwire your brain for success. You start to see yourself as a successful person who accomplishes things that they set out to accomplish. Awesome. Yeah, Sally's saying, yes, I will. I do. Yeah. If you just move on to the next thing, there's never any acknowledgement of a win. You know what else we do here? I do this when we have new members that join our community, and I have my whole family in on this. Whenever anyone new joins one of our programs, I have a bell, and you could hear it in the whole house. I ding that bell. I don't say anything. My kids and my husband know if I ding that bell, we get to welcome a new member into our community. To me, that's one new person that I get to support, one new person that I get to hopefully have a positive impact on. And we celebrate that. That's an impact goal. For me, my goal is impact. And so when I ding that bell, I feel like I'm internalizing the opportunity to have a greater impact. Yeah, Melissa, pop that champagne. Absolutely. That's the way you celebrate. Do it, yes. And even that sound of the cork popping will tell your brain that you're successful. There's a reason why the popping sound of champagne, because champagne is always associated with celebration, that popping sound feels like success and it feels like a celebration, does it not? And that's why everyone goes, hooray! It's not just like, oh, you open the champagne, the cork's out. It's like pop is a celebration, and your brain internalizes that. It creates new neural pathways that hardwire you for success. So you could also treat yourself to a nice dinner. If you can't dine out, which we can't right now, my husband and I will pick a special restaurant, support local restaurants in our community, and bring in a really nice dinner, and like carve out the time, let the kids sit on their computers and not ignore us. Not ignore us. I mean, ignore us and not bother us. And then, sit and have a nice quiet dinner that I didn't prepare, that somebody brought, and that's really special. Maybe it's also just a Starbucks coffee, something fancy, that it's different and it breaks your routine, and it's celebrating a smaller win by doing something like that, like treating yourself to like whipped cream on top of your frappuccino when you don't normally get the whipped cream. I don't know, like something small like that that's different. It's a pattern disrupt. Yeah. The more you celebrate your successes, and especially the smaller ones, the more you'll start to realize, hey, I'm good at this. And that's what happened with me. I was like, I'm actually pretty good at this, Wow, like 2 clients on Ellen and 1 at the Today Show today on the very same day. Like I deserve to be here. So that's how we overcome imposter syndrome. I'm going to post a link here to the newest resource that we've developed called PR Insider Secrets. It's an almost 20-page ebook PDF we've put together where we tapped some of the women on this call, actually, Natasha, the successful members of our community sharing their secret sauce strategies that make them successful, whether it's connecting with the media. Oh, God. Get out of here. Get out of here. How do we get out of this guy out of here? Yeah, we've got a little imposter here that should feel imposter syndrome. Get out. So I'm just like distracted because I like wish I could just delete this person. But I can't. I'll do it later. But that's what I have for you today. And I knew today was going to be a longer chat. It's because we get asked this question quite a bit. It comes up, it comes up quite a bit in our community. And it's always, thanks, Natasha, it's always because we are stepping up and serving in a bigger way. That is when you feel that feeling. Celebrate that. That's why Oprah, Maya Angelou, and Natalie Portman feel imposter syndrome. Look at the state. Get rid of this guy. How do we block this Yahoo? You're terrible. That is why these people who are serving on an international stage and having the spotlight of millions of people on them feel that way, because they are stepping up. Who has ever served in that way? You know, it's like that level of like you're rising to the occasion. It's new for you, so that's why you feel that way. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can just block this dork. Does anybody have any questions about any of this or anything else as it relates to your agency? I'm here for another minute or so. I'm happy to stay, obviously. I'm here for you guys. I'm in the page right now, getting rid of this dope. Does anybody have any questions, even about the programs, actually? Oh, what about the ebook, Sally? You have a question about it? It is, how do we get the ebook? Oh, did I not put a link? Hold on one sec. Oh, it's here. Here we go. PR Insider Secrets. You'll recognize so many of these beautiful faces. What we did to develop this resource was we asked, just click that link, Sally. And yeah, hi, Kristen. We asked our community their burning questions. If you could tap a successful PR professional, what would you want to know? What would you want to know about their success, their secret strategies, their secret sauce for finding dream clients, growing and scaling their business, and landing top tier press? And then we asked them and we got their insight, put it all together. We also have pro tips in there from journalists telling us the current strategies that are working with them. So anything in there that says PR pro tip or pitching powerhouse pro tip, I don't know, something like that. Those are coming from journalists that are letting us know how they want to receive their pitches or what strategies are actually working to get their attention right now in a very kind of unique and crowded time. And then we invite you in there also to a masterclass that we hosted called From Crickets to Crushing It. And you can pick your time and attend when it suits your schedule. But we just want, we don't want you to hear those crickets anymore. We want you to feel confident and that you're crushing it, because that adds to your confidence when you are pitching yourself to clients. That is infectious. That is completely a magnet for people to want to work with you. When I get on sales calls, in my mind, I'm like, this is so perfect for us. Like, we are so perfect for them. Oh man, we're going to crush it for you. And I start talking to them as if they're already a client, or we're the best and only choice for them, because that's what I really feel. And if we don't win work, we're always like, we'll be back. We've had clients that leave and then they're like, we blew it. And I have one right now that's doing that. They're trying to get approval from the parent company. It's one of our bigger $1 billion clients, parent company, publicly traded company. There's a lot of approvals to get us to come back, but our client, the actual brand we supported, is desperate to have us back because their new, probably 9 months in, their new agency is, they're not doing a great job. And we've kind of been watching and we're like, what's going on? They've had enough time to actually make some things happen. And the other thing is that our media contacts are still coming to us for things. And we're like, well, we haven't represented them in 9 months. And they're like, really? Nobody's reached out to me. And we're like, what? How has nobody reached out to you? How many clients do you have? I currently do not have a full roster. We lost quite a few of our larger clients that were holding a lot of space at the beginning of the pandemic, and we aren't back up to the level. We typically have about 7 or 8 clients, or 6 bigger clients. We're right now about 4, and we are looking to, bring that back up. But I also personally have been extremely focused on this community and growing this community. Um, so Samantha asked, what advice do you have for handling imposter syndrome when you are in between clients and a prospect asked, who are you working with currently? So you're saying you don't have any current clients. Um, do you have anyone that you support, um, as like even as a freelancer? Um, Sally says, I listened to Jen's section about rocking it prior to a call, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's like a pump you up, right? And also it makes you feel prepared. We have also like a checklist of things that you should be asking clients on the phone. Samantha, I know that question is like really uncomfortable. It's funny because you never know. Is the client wondering if you have too many clients and therefore you don't have the bandwidth to focus on them? Or if you don't have enough clients, which means maybe you aren't legit. So, yeah. So, I would think from both sides and talk about in general terms, and if you can say, I mean, this is a very specific time with the pandemic. Our revenue is not the lowest it's ever been, but we have the lowest amount of clients on our roster that we've ever had. And I have no problem saying that because it's just, we got decimated. I know that technically that means reduced by 10. But that's just a word people say they got like wiped out. We got crushed in March, April, crushed. So it's been, and it's like I said at the top, and Samantha agreed, like these proposals are just harder to convert. It's just having this challenge. So, but there's opportunity out there and I'm not worried about it. Melissa's asking, is that in the accelerator, what you just mentioned before getting on a call? Yeah, we have an entire section on, client calls, discovery calls, like rocking them. It's wonderful. Thank you, Sally. And Samantha's saying, meaning I just wrapped up something and I have something coming up, but not yet started. So you can say that, you can just say, we have successfully supported X client and had these results. And you can then say, we are preparing to support a brand, with this type of work. I would just really try to position it in a way that shows the kind of expertise that you have and the kind of clients that you have worked with and that you will work with. So in your mind, you're hearing them asking to get to the point that, wow, I don't have any clients right now. And you think that they're asking that because they want to know if you have clients right now, and then what does that mean if you don't? Sometimes they want to know, like I said, that you don't have too many. Sally's saying we have qualifying questions to ask. Yeah, for sure. Like things that you should probably ask on a discovery call, and then you feel prepared and like how to vet clients properly. But probably, Samantha, the question is more geared towards understanding who you serve and how you serve them, and do you have the bandwidth? So if you position it like that, who you've supported in the past, our questions keep you from signing up the wrong people, and also getting information from prospective clients that will help you win the proposal. So you can find things out from them that you just like, bleh, you spit it back out in the proposal and they're like, wow, you really understand our needs. And you're like, because you just told me everything that you needed. And I just told that right back to you. It's kind of magic. It's kind of amazing, but it works. So Samantha, I would just try to think of it differently, because I think that you probably feel a bit of insecurity right now, and I get it, because your client roster's light, you're in between clients, and that maybe sounds like, well, I'm in between clients and it seems flaky, even though it's not. Reposition it in your mind and figure that the client wants to know, who do you serve, how do you serve them, and do you serve someone like me, and do you have the bandwidth to support me? So if you can answer that question instead, without looking like you're dancing and dodging, part of that is also just being prepared. And when you're prepared to answer the question like that, I think that's more empowering, and it takes the power like back into your hands. Does that feel good and make sense? Let me know. And Beverly is saying also conflicting clients from the same sector. I need to know more about that. We tend to not represent clients. Okay, good. We tend to not represent clients that are a conflict. But also you need to be compensated if you are essentially serving one client to the exclusion of everybody else. That you can potentially, we will support clients that are related or adjacent, but never competing or conflicting clients. It's confusing to editors. I think it's a bit unethical. But when you develop deep expertise, you can carve out those types of clients with precision, let's say. So like if you're an expert, excuse me, I feel like I'm about to get the hiccups. And I don't have water, only coffee and only the foam. I'm like trying to get it. It's not helping. When you, let's say, are an expert in promoting skincare brands, you can't just serve one skincare brand, but maybe you serve one brand that's purely organic. You serve one brand that's a K-beauty brand. You serve one brand that's based off of a certain ingredient that's really efficient or effective in solving a specific skincare need. So like hyperpigmentation or, fine lines and wrinkles or acne. So you have one acne line. You have one line that focuses on a certain key ingredient that doesn't conflict. So you can like carve out those different brands without competing kind of with laser precision. So like with baby and kids, we could represent, like a gear company, and we have what then they have like, let's say like a stroller, a high chair, but they're mostly gear. And then we have another client that has like feeding products, and they have to also happen to have a high chair. Well, I'm not going to not represent both brands just because both of them have a high chair. But if they were both gear companies, both in the same price point, both with very similar like strollers, high chairs, car seats, I wouldn't represent both of them. I just wouldn't, because that's pretty much a conflict. But both in the same industry and maybe one or two products that cross over. We had this with a baby and kids brand that was a blanket company. It was like high-end, super expensive luxury baby blankets. They also were very like exclusive of us. Like if anyone else worked with us, they were getting our secret sauce. And I had supported this brand for 11 years, and they were like, you're mine, you're mine. And for so long I was like, okay, I want to talk to another brand. Okay. But like my expertise that I had, the amount of money they were paying, because we worked with them for so long, you guys know it's like really hard to take an existing client and get them up to your market rate. It's so much easier to just like start with someone new and have that higher rate in place. So they were way below market for like, I don't know, 7-8 years. And I was also like, oh my God, if I lose them, it'll be the end of me. And so I wasn't taking on other work that could have benefited immensely by that expertise that I had developed all those years, industry know-how, contacts, everything. And one day I was like, this is costing me so much money and my sanity. And I've talked about quantum growth in my business. This was one instance of just quantum growth overnight. I finally said, no more. Just because you make a baby blanket and a company also happens to make not even remotely similar baby blanket, they're not a competitor. Totally different price point, different retailers. And I just was like, no, not a conflict. Like it's not in our contract. So we're working with this brand, and you know what? Everybody makes each other better. So, and you don't get to tell me, clients do not get to tell you how to run your business. They don't. So once I did that and that new brand came in, we literally, you guys, tripled our rate overnight. And the new company was like, awesome, let's get started. And you were like, that's our rate now. Based on our industry know-how, based on the results we get, I let that hold me back for too long. And that's one of the reasons why I teach all of this stuff. I don't want any of you to be held back by that. That's another feeling of imposter syndrome. If I don't have that client, I'm nothing. that's my anchor client, and if they're gone, I'm nothing. And that's not the case. I've had a business well beyond what I ever did with that client. I have a reputation well beyond that one client. So that's another place where imposter syndrome creeps in. If that client leaves, what does it say about me? It says nothing about you. It says nothing about you. It says that maybe they don't have the budget, or maybe PR was a limited scope project, or maybe they decided to reallocate the budget somewhere else, or maybe they thought they could get better results somewhere else, but they're mistaken, or maybe it just wasn't the best fit. And that's fine too. Not every client's the best fit, but it doesn't say anything about you and the kind of professional that you are. It just doesn't. So don't let that be another source of this doubt and fear creeping in about your qualifications and your ability to do this. Okay, guys? Beverly, does that help? So it depends what the conflict is. Is it completely conflicting, overlap? Do you have a contract section about it? And Sally's saying, thank you for addressing this. Absolutely. I love Q&A. It's like my favorite. Guys, I am also going to be on Clubhouse because I just started, literally yesterday. I was in moderating 3 rooms for other people, but they brought me up. The potential's really good and cool over there. So I'm on Clubhouse at Generation if you guys are there, or at least try to get an invite, and then somebody that's in your cell phone that's there can add you. So it's not as hard to get in as people make it out to be. I don't know why they say that. But we're going to be doing chats on Clubhouse because it's basically like listening in on a live podcast episode being reported. I can bring you guys up and we can have conversations about things. I like that nobody can see you, so I can be like in my jammies. I don't have to take a shower, and I could just be like, helping and connecting with more people. And I know Clubhouse is like Clubhouse. Okay, Melissa, there's a new app called Clubhouse. Not so new. It's been around about, 10 months. Look for it. It's only on Apple right now. But there's all these different rooms that, people that you follow, they'll start certain rooms on Clubhouse. And it's a conversation. It's just a conversation. And there'll be a certain topic, and you can raise your hand, and the moderator can mail report. Tell me about that. I'm not seeing the free report email. Sally, check your spam. Samantha, I learned so much from Clubhouse. Am I following you on there? I'll find you and add you. But it's really interesting. You can drop in on these really good conversations with some key people. Yeah, it's not on Android yet. Okay. Yeah, Melissa's saying nope. Samantha. Oops. So I'll follow you, or come find me, Samantha Generation. And we're going to be I'll just create a room, and we'll say like how to overcome imposter syndrome. And anyone can join in on the chat. It's basically like listening into a live podcast episode being reported, really good conversations. So we'll be doing more there. It's not video, it's only audio, which is why I like it. So there's some days where I'm like, I'm not taking a shower and putting on makeup today, and I could be on Clubhouse and just having a really good conversation. More experts than products, but that's very helpful. Thanks. Okay, good. Yeah. I think I'm following you, but if not, I'll make sure. Come follow me. And then anybody who signed up for the visibility conference, I know that Sally did. Hopefully you got that information. You're having issues with your email deliverability, Sally. You might have to change your settings because it sounds like you're not getting a lot of emails that have like attachments and links. But anybody who's going to be there, I will be on the panel on Saturday talking about all things PR and visibility. One of my goals this year is more visibility. Clubhouse really serves that purpose as well, pitching the media. If I'm going to have bigger impact and share my, my expertise and programs and want to reach more people so I can serve more people, then I need to have more visibility so people can find me. So Clubhouse will help do that. I first was like, ugh, not another social media platform. But I think for me, this one's really doable because I can just show up and talk. You guys know I can talk. I'm an hour into this Facebook Live, which means I'm going to wrap. I really appreciate all of you sticking it out to the very, very end. So many people can relate to the feeling of imposter syndrome, myself included. Some of the greats that you would never imagine. And there's ways to address it and understand what it is, tackle it, celebrate those wins, learn from mistakes, remind yourself that you can't be successful all the time, and try to cultivate your expertise in a specific area so you feel confident that you're informed, that you're the best of the best, and that you're the best choice for prospective clients. So if I can help you in any way, awesome, Melissa, thank you so much. If you have any questions about the Agency Accelerator or the Pitch Lab, just post them here. My team will get back to you. And you guys go forth, celebrate those little wins. Even being on this live, checking into yourself for a little bit of time today to try to improve one small area of your life, that's a win, guys. Celebrate it. And if you're on Clubhouse, go find me. And I will see you guys next week. Every week, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific. I'll see you there. Bye.